Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am going to do a video here on how to do a forearm rest contour, and this can go on actually any type of a guitar, that's somewhat of a Strat style. I've seen it done on Tallys, but anyway, before I get started, my name is Karl Sandoval. I am a master luthier with custom guitars. I do a variety of different styles and shapes and configurations. I mean, the sky's the limit. So if you don't know who I am, you can find me on social media. Just look up my name, Karl Sandoval. I spell my name with the letter K. I've got a Patreon channel, a YouTube channel, Instagram channel. I have a Facebook. I'm on TikTok, and I have my website, of course. And you can reach me by email at carl@carlsandoval.com. So if you haven't subscribed to any of my social media channels, please, by all means, do so. The one channel that really helps me out is the Patreon channel, because it's a subscription channel, and it's only $5 a month, which, I'm just continuously posting videos, and the amount of videos is adding up, and it's just going to keep getting larger and larger, and it's just information about how I do my fabrication with a variety of different guitars and basses. All right, so anyway, let's continue on here. As you can see, this happens to be a Strat style. No particular format or exact design of any kind from any of the companies that are out there. But basically what you see is I have a pattern on here which I would draw a line across like so. And this is a marker line for me and when I'm sanding and prepping. So once that mark is done, then I take my right angle grinder and I put a sanding disc pad, whatever you want to call it. And this is pretty rough. This is like about a 60 grit or 40 grit. So it's a flapper, and it's basically my really quick file. So if you use one of these, like any of the demonstrations that I show you, you're doing so at your own risk. It does take some practice. So you can basically cut yourself a piece of wood with a curve on it and simulate a tummy cut, a piece of scrap, and then experiment with that. I mean, you could use mahogany, alder, ash, maple, whatever your exotic woods. But, for practice, I would use, just a cheap wood. But basically, this is my file. This is my cutter. I used to do this type of cutting by hand using files that are of a variety of different cuts and coarseness. Here's a few of them right here. This is a rasp, and it's very, very heavy in cutting. And then I have a smoother cut, which is what you see here. And then I even have a smaller one. And these are it's flat on one side and curved on the other. All three are like that. But I used to and can and still do really go the old school and do it by hand like that, maybe even using a chisel or a bandsaw to cut off the bulk wood piece here, which I used to do in the past. But this time, this cutter works really quick, so I just, for now, am using that method. But anyway, so I will take this right angle sander now and basically start on top of the body and move my way back and forth like this. And of course, one of the key things about cutting wood like this is watching what you're doing, and you can actually make one pass and you can see the width of cut that you made, and that helps you determine the cuts that you want. Now this forearm cut actually comes straight down, and when I mean straight, it's straight across this way all the way down. If I was to put somewhat of a straight edge on here, you would see that as I bring it down, it's straight from this point to this point, and so, but it's curved to a certain thickness determined by what you want. Now, moving on, what I do is it could be in its rough state, and it might even have some dips and valleys. So I'll put pencil marks, and they will remain on the valleys, and I just keep sanding down until the pencil marks are gone. But basically, I make a smooth transition from the side going up in this direction to the flat surface of the body. I really don't like to feel any kind of a sharpness or pinnacle point here on my work. So I gradually sand it smooth down, and you can run your hand and you can feel anything that has some sort of a pinnacle point, and if it does, I'll just sand it down, and I'll sand this way, or I'll sand this way towards the final end, assuring me that it will be straight from this point to this point. And the radius is actually curved down, and it's done by sight. And what I do, let's see if I can, if you look closely, you can see the radius, how it blends from the flat surface, and it comes down to the thickness that I want here. And as I move the body over, you'll be able to see the same thing, where, I start at the flatness area here, the surface of the face of the body, and I work my way down, and I eventually get a really nice smooth transition before I actually put the edge radius on. And it just so happens on this particular guitar that I'm building for a customer, it's going to have a lighter radius, probably like about an 1/8 inch or 3/16 radius. And so we're going that route. And the next step that I'm going to do is going to be the tummy cut. So this is the armrest. Let's see, let me see if I can get this. It's a comfortable feel when you play your guitar. There's no gouging edge right here. This is contoured down. And of course it'll have the high gloss finish on it. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I have a light line drawn here, and I'm going to do a tummy cut in the same fashion, where I'll turn the body this way, and let me see if I can just run a couple of passes here. So in some cases, I'll put a fan on and it blows all the sawdust away outside. And you can see the amount of cut that I can get pretty quickly with that sanding flapper disc. So you got to be real careful. And as you can see, I'm watching as I cut. Obviously you don't want to overcut. And so there's a certain thickness. As I developed and measured here, at this point, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'll have a certain thickness. I'm going to bring this down to a certain thickness here, and it will allow for a nice, comfortable feel when you rest it up against your tummy at this point here. And some of us, we may have a little bit larger tummy than others. Oh well, that's kind of like our happiness in life. We just love to have good foods. But anyway, that's kind of like my thing. But anyway, so, I'll just keep cutting and cutting. And once again, I try to keep the plane nice and contoured and sort of matching the contour of the whole body. Now, this cut from here is going to come way down to about here. And, and I might look at it and say that I need more, and I might bring it down, or maybe I won't cut as much, but this one isn't going to have a curved radius on it. This one's going to be flat. In other words, just as you see this cut here, it's flat, but it's going to be like that all the way through the whole pattern of the tummy cut. And then, of course, this is all rough cut with 80 grit. And, when I prep the body for finish, I'll sand it down to 220, and we'll be good to go. So that's just a brief video on how I do arm contour and tummy cut on a sort of a Strat style body. But I'm saying that you can do these on any bodies that you design. I'm just trying to demonstrate and explain how one of my approaches on how I make my contours. And then once again, I remember back in the day when I used to work at Charvel's, I used to make one cut with a bandsaw, and that would get all the material off. But it's real tricky. You have to have the proper jigs, the eye, the experience to do it, to get it cut right, because you've got angles to deal with and curves, and you don't want to cut and distort the body and ruin the body. So it was bandsaw first, and then we would sand. And I don't know if you have a block like this, but if you notice it has a radius on it, that's really crucial. And then you have your flat spot here, which you can do the same thing. I use this curved radius for sanding in here. I'll set the body down like this, and I'll sand. Let's see if we can. I'll sand it, according to the angle that I want, and it gives me a flat, sanded area. And it's something that's worked at. You start off where it's pointy, and then it starts to be cut in and in and in until you get to your final look. So that's basically it. I hope this helps you in any of your custom guitars that you're building. And please remember, to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't. What helps me the most, and I appreciate all your help, thank you so much, is to subscribe to my Patreon channel. And all you got to do is look up my name on any one of these channels. And every once in a while I post my links. But that's pretty much how you can get on. A lot of people already know how to get onto Patreon and YouTube and so forth. And, to put links up, that's just like a quicker way of helping people out. And, I do that, but I don't do it all the time. Just look up my name. It's Karl Sandoval Engineering, or Karl Sandoval Custom Guitars, or Karl Sandoval, just my name. And I spell my name with the letter K, so be sure and remember that. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to you soon.